What's up, guys? This is going to be your quiz review. You need to have all your notes starting from 1.6 to 8.4. From 1.6, I'm going to take three concepts. The first one is concave and convex. I'm going to ask about one of those. Second thing I'm going to ask about is classified polygons. Which right here, I might ask, I don't know, if you have 9 sides, what do you call a polygon? Well, we have 9 sides, it's called a nonagon, something like that. The third thing I want to ask you to do is to work with a regular polygon and solve for something. Regular. Go back and look at the notes if you don't remember. You can use the notes on the quiz, assuming you have them. And then 8.1, I'm going to take some stuff from there, like angles in a polygon. If I ask you, how many degrees are inside an octagon? We have to use that formula that's on the notes. Then the fifth one will be, what happens if I give you the interior angle sum and you find the number of sides. In other words, you're going to find what n is using the formula from number 4. Number 6 is I'm going to give you some weird shape and you're going to have to find x, where x is going to be on the inside. So look through your notes. You're going to have some weird looking shape, I don't know, something, I think like that. Remember how many sides this has, how many angles should be inside. You're going to have to find like x, and there's numbers all over here. Look through your notes. Number 7 is going to be about exterior angles. Don't forget, no matter what weird shape I put, the exterior angles always add up to 360. Then from 8.2, I talked about, or we're going to go over the rules of a parallelogram, where opposite sides are congruent. You need to know that. Opposite angles are congruent. In other words, the 4 properties. Of a parallelogram. In 8.2, I went over a few examples. Any examples from there is fair game. Similar questions just like it. I would look over 8.2. In 8.3, I put one question about graphing a parallelogram. You know, you have to graph it like we did the other day. You graph the points and then you have to use the distance formula. There you go. And then finally, in 8.4, I went over I think I gave 3 questions from 8.4. One of them gave you a shape, I don't know, something like this. And I had that. I said, what shape is that? Well, it's a rectangle. Why? Then you have to tell me why. Well, because it has 4 right angles and 2 sides are congruent and the other 2 sides are congruent. Not all 4 sides are congruent, so you'd have to put that. All 4 angles are 90 degrees and 2 pairs of congruent sides. You're not going to have a rectangle, obviously, but it's a question like that. And then another question has the shaping of the solve for x. That's easy smeezy. And then I'm also going to tell you there's simple multiple choice question. Multiple choice question. I think it's number 14, if I'm not mistaken, on the quiz. And it asks a square is blank a rectangle and a rhombus. And I put here a square is both, a square is neither, or a square is just one of those two shapes. It's in the notes. So here's a free question if you pay attention. Your quiz, it's 15 questions. You have one multiple choice. The rest are fill in the blank. And if on the top of the test you put I love math, quiz, sorry. If you put I love math on top of the quiz, I'll give you 10 points for the quiz, and I'll give you 10 points to your lowest grade so far. Yeah, it's an E. But if you can tell me, like if you don't put this, it's either I love math or this when you can't do both. If you can tell me the type of geometry used in my class, the type of geometry used in class, I'll give you 20 points on the quiz and 20 points on your lowest grade. And I'll give you 5 points on the test you're going to have soon. So either you pick one or the other. If you pick the wrong type of geometry, you're done. You don't get extra credit. You can't put I love math and the type of geometry. So choose wisely. Alright guys, laters.